Okay, it's recording.
Okay, everyone, welcome to the Downtown Oshawa BIA monthly meeting, board meeting. I'm calling the meeting to order at 4 p.m. We do not have quorum, so we'll start the meeting with non-voting matters first and get through the majority of the agenda items that we don't need a vote for or quorum. And as we get quorum, we'll deal with the matters that require a vote.
Neither of the delegations have appeared.
We'll skip that until they arrive. I can't have a mover and a seconder for the agenda. Any changes that someone wants to make to the agenda, we'll wait for quorum before we accept it formally, but anybody have any changes they want to make? We have one new business item that's added on.
Nothing.
No? Any declaration of conflicts?
Not hearing any.
Not hearing any, we'll move on. Our delegations haven't arrived yet, obviously, right?
I have Peter is waiting right now.
Okay, well, let's let Peter in.
Okay, and I'm not sure if that means okay, so I guess the other one was Kyle that I let in, so Peter has been let in.
Okay, Peter, welcome.
I don't see a microphone for him. Let's just give it a couple minutes. Okay. Peter, can you hear us? Don't know if he can because I don't see a microphone for his. I'll type something in the chat to see. So, Peter, we see that you're signed in, but I don't see a microphone. So I don't know if you're talking, we probably can't hear you. I'm hoping you can hear us. Can you wave or something if you can hear us?
Can you see him?
I can see Peter.
Ask him to,
Yeah, that's why I said to wave or something, because
can you?
he may have seen in the chat right now. I'm hoping, but I don't see. Oh, now I see his microphone. Okay, Peter, I see the microphone now. I'm hoping you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Perfect, now we can hear you.
Oh, good.
Okay, great. So
Peter,
now we got that sorted.
Peter, welcome. Your entry is timely. You're up. So if you want to have your 5 minutes and talk about the DRPS, we'd be happy to take your delegation.
Okay, so, and I'm timing.
Oh, okay. Thank you everybody for allowing me to speak. Yeah, I have a problem. I can't even remember how long ago it was. A little bit more than a month, and I had. It led me to actually install. I already had cameras, and I upgraded my entire system. It's quite expensive, to be honest with you. But in the meantime, I was trying to get hold. The problem I had was trying to get a hold of whoever it was at the police department that could help, and I went through Angela, trying to figure out who it is that would be our downtown contact. And I don't know if you mentioned that in one of your emails to me that even though I seem to have some issues with the BIA, that I certainly use the resource, and I use that resource gladly, I suppose, is the word. But anyway, I never got a satisfactory response. I did get finally, after quite some time, maybe more than a week, somebody to respond to me. So in the policing world, a week might as well be never, because things don't happen repetitively. I thought the biggest problem that I had was that the lack of response from the police department. It took quite some time, and to be honest with you, still not much response other than I dropped off some keys so they would have access to my building if they saw fit or if they needed it. But that was about it, and from there on in, not much. So I'd like to keep being invited to those, I guess, subcommittee meetings. I couldn't make the last one. I was tied up. But if Angela and the BIA would graciously send me a list of dates that those meetings do occur, and if it's possible that I could attend, because policing is a big issue. I have almost 13 tenants in that property along Bond Street there, and it can get a little hairy for them. I mean, not so much inside the building, but the periphery of it. I'm looking to actually install gates and electronic gates. It's getting ridiculous, and a great deal of it has to do with the homelessness that we're having. I noticed across the street at the bus terminal there are now portable washrooms. Now I don't know if that's helping bring the traffic. I noticed that the store to the west of me, which is a nail salon, has a permanent homeless person sleeping there on a nightly basis, although I haven't been down there in the last week. So I suppose they're my concerns. I don't know what further. I'm glad to have spoken, and if there's any comment, I'd like to hear it.
Great. Well, thank you for bringing that forward. Glad we could be of some help, at least, notwithstanding our differences in terms of opinions. Yeah, we are trying to make those connections with DRPS. Cindy's on our board, and I meet with her, Angela, and the two DRPS with her committee. Cindy, do you want to talk about the work that we've done there? And maybe Peter's looking for an invite, so I don't know if you want to bring that on with your committee.
Yeah, for sure. I think Peter had mentioned he wanted to attend the last meeting but wasn't able to, so it's definitely open for our members to attend. And the meeting is basically to help coordinate services and let DRPS know what the hotspots are downtown. So Peter, something like this is perfect so that they're aware that your area obviously might be in higher need, so they can provide additional services or keep an eye, closer on your properties if you're finding that you feel you're being kind of disproportionately, not targeted, but disproportionately experiencing challenges with the unsheltered population. And DRPS is
I've lost Cindy.
Yeah.
So did we.
Maybe I
sorry. Sorry. What part did I check out at there?
The last sentence.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Did you miss the whole thing?
No, just the last sentence or two.
Oh, okay. No, sorry. I was just saying how DRPS has been really responsive and, really engaging and wanting to work with us to help problem solve some of the issues downtown. And they are still kind of ironing out the process of giving us statistics on a regular basis as to crime levels and incidents downtown so that we can report it back to our members and keep a pulse on, how things are changing and what areas need more attention and not. So yeah, and I think, Peter, you are intending on coming to those meetings moving forward, correct?
I would appreciate it.
Yeah. So, and like I said, all members, if they have concerns, can reach out to us or can request to attend that meeting. And we just really hope to continue to build a relationship with them and keep the positive momentum going.
Cindy, we have December 16th as the next meeting. Does that resonate with you? Sorry, we're in two different buildings here, folks.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Angela would have the dates on that.
9 a.m. on December the 16th.
Great. And Sue, if you're still on, we've been trying to reach out to Julie McIsaac to kickstart the city's involvement in this. The DRPS, I think Cindy can attest to it. The last conversation was the Durham Regional Police Services want to get together with the city to restart the initiative that they had at the start of the year. And we know we've mentioned it to Mayor Carter. He's supportive of it, but I think it rests with staff. We don't seem to get traction. I wonder if you can maybe give Julie a nudge to kickstart that meeting.
Sure. I think Kyle's on the line. He might know more about this. Is that Julie McIsaac has been involved in that? Which one is it you're referring to?
Cindy, do you remember the name? I don't know that we got the name right, but it was supposed to be almost like a Durham Connect type meeting that's going on at the regional level, just for the Oshawa level.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I think for whatever reason I had stuck in my head, it was like the situation table, or it was dubbed some other kind of nickname like that, where it was literally the version of the regional council, but it was specific for Oshawa.
Okay. I don't know. I'm not part of it, but if I was gonna say, if you give me the name, but I'll reach out. I will reach out to Julie McIsaac to find out.
Great.
And circle back with you. So what you want then just is to find out what the connection is with the RPS.
Yeah, if you can just push it. I think I've left a message and sent her a note and haven't heard back. So I'm not sure if she's in the office or if she's away or what have you. I don't know. I think Cindy's met with the mayor to have the same discussion, which he was supportive with.
Yeah.
And of course, we don't have our Ward 4 council on the BIA board to push this. So I'm kind of relying on you and Kyle to do it.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
Then actually,
So it's Kyle here. Yeah, so Julie's not a bad contact, and I think the reason you probably got her name is kind of the student project we did over the summer, where they were talking about safety kiosks and things like that. It probably might be more useful to send it to our reopening sort of COVID sort of task force, as well as, and Julie's there, because I think it's got to kind of get into the operations people and things like that, but we're happy to pass that along. So, we'll check in with Julie, see if she's done anything with it. I'm not sure she's the right person, but, we're probably 2 doors away from at least having the right person to talk to.
The DRPS already said they met with Julie as a first initial meeting. She was the one who kickstarted. That's how they're pointing us to her, because they're interested in doing it, but they don't know where to go anymore. So that's why we're involved in that. And they would, we're kind of said, we said we would take the lead in coordinating that meeting, that kickstart meeting again. So if you don't mind taking it on, if it's not Julie, find out who it is. If you don't mind, we're going to need the city on this one.
Yeah, and I agree. I think
without a doubt. So happy.
Oh, sorry, Kyle.
Happy to do that.
Yeah, and I think DRPS spoke really highly of the initiative. They thought it was really fantastic and saw it as really fruitful and helpful. So I think that's why we really want to advocate for it. If they see the value in it and they're committed to helping and being part of it, I think we should definitely take up on that while we can.
Great. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Peter. Is there anything else?
Fine. I'm not sure now where we ended up with the next meeting. Did we end up with the 16th or?
Yes, we'll get Angela to forward you the
Okay.
invite. It's the 16th.
Right.
You want a marketing calendar? Oh, we got one more question here from Glenn.
So
Sure.
Peter, you want the BIA disbanded, correct?
I believe it's the best thing to happen. Yep.
So
Yes, I do.
So why would you want to avail yourselves of BIA assistance if you don't want the BIA? It's kind of hypocritical. Can you just explain?
Well, no, it's not, because my money's already being spent. If you were going to say to me that this was going to cost me something, it's kind of like the fridge is already full and now I'm not expected to eat from it. That's a little bit ridiculous. It's my money that's being spent. I'm going to avail every penny of it.
But you don't believe the BIA serves any value to its members?
And I didn't say that. I've never said that. I said I don't believe the BIA serves or gives the appropriate amount of value, and not just this BIA. I've actually thought that for almost 20 some odd years, even when I was a member of it. But it doesn't make sense that if people have their hands in my pockets, trust you me, I'm going to be worried about every penny where it's going, and I'm going to try to direct it where I believe it needs to be directed. That's why I became a member of the BIA, only for protecting of my own self out of that, my own self-interest. But yeah, I mean, look at in the just this week with what's happening in Toronto with this Adamson barbecue and the police coming to arrest people for opening their business. These businesses are opening or trying to stay open. I have many of my tenants are businesses. Those businesses are already behind in their rent, not only to me, but to every landlord that I know, and I know considerable number of landlords. So they can't afford, let alone what is being spent, because they're in arrears, whether they're through SECRA or whatever other government program. They're still in arrears. I'm owed a considerable amount of money, whether I can legally chase it or not. I'm short, and I'm short a considerable amount. 25% is a lot of money. I don't make 25%. You know, so, you know, you can say, well, yeah, but that's not 25% of you know, it's of your gross. Nonetheless, we're dealing with very, very small margins. And our tenants are not, this didn't just happen last month or last week, this pandemic. They've been suffering now for going on 10 months and with no end in sight. Right now, there is no end in sight. They're talking sometime into the third quarter potentially before there's a vaccine that may not work, and who knows. So you find it hypocritical. Well, I find it a little bit odd that people would expect my money to be spent and for me to sit back and keep my mouth shut about where it's being spent. I think that's actually insulting to me and to everybody else that pays into this. Who is this that I'm speaking to?
I don't think anyone's suggesting you shouldn't have input as to how the money is spent.
No, but I don't take offense with that. I take offense that you're calling me a hypocrite.
Okay, well, take offense. I appreciate your answer. I don't understand it. It sounds hypocritical to me. Anyways, thank you. I appreciate the answer.
Could I, and who is this I'm speaking to? I'm not privy to that.
Glenn Gillett.
Glenn Gillen. And Glenn, what business is it you are representing or
I own the property at 88 Bond West.
88. Which one is that? I'm sorry.
Gillett, well, it used to be Gillett Car Cleaning.
Oh, Gillette. Sorry. Yes. Sorry. Yes, Glenn, I got you now. Now it's all come to me. Figured it out. Sure, Glenn. I mean, I believe we even sat on one board at the same time.
Yeah.
Great. So that's where that's where I have the problem here, that we're what?
No, you answered the question. I'm saying thank you for your answer.
Okay.
Great. Thanks, Peter. You're welcome to stay if you like, or your delegation's done. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have anybody in the waiting room?
No, I keep checking.
Okay.
And there will be something up on the screen.
Okay, so we still don't have quorum, folks, but we'll keep marching through on things we don't need approval for. So, report of the chair. I just want to thank everybody for, oh boy, over the last at least month, 2 months, all the work that's been going on, given the firestorm of activity. For those who were kind enough to log on to the city council meetings that took place, the special meeting and then the post meeting. Thank you for doing that. I didn't have the luxury of doing that, so people kept me up to date, which was great. I just think it's tough times for us. Peter has described it correctly. Nobody asked for COVID. Everybody's suffering from it. It seems to bring out the ugly of a lot of people that just have hate for whatever reason and picking on situations. I think some of that's directed at us. I think we're doing a good enough job. I think we've done a remarkable job pivoting since June of this year with virtually no more revenue, trying to deliver the values and goods that we're doing. And you'll hear some great news this afternoon with some of the updates that are given. I think we've done a tremendous job. So that goes out to each and every one of you. All of you have done that. So thank you very much for that. That's kind of my report. Angela, do you want to give the manager's report?
Sure. I made some notes so I don't forget. So we've started a new discount program with the Oshawa Garden Club. This is basically an expansion on our discount card or program that we have with the students, alumni, and seniors. So the Garden Club has over 200 members, and they just need to present their Garden Club card, I guess, to the businesses that have a sticker in their window, and they will receive up to 10% off. We've sent the audited statements to the city. I did double check to see if we needed to resubmit for the reporting for the anchor grant, and they said that that was fine. So the city also has a copy of our completed 2019 statements. Taylor has started the Shop Low Ho Ho campaign, where she's highlighting downtown businesses, and she might mention that later on. We've been approached by a number of companies for the Digital Main Street Lab program. It's a grant, and the companies need to work with a BIA. So we do have one application in with our name. We've been told by the companies that each BIA can only be named on one grant or be the recipient of one grant. So I do have at least 2 companies waiting for us to hear about the one company if they are successful. If not, then the other 2 companies will see about putting our name on, because their initial BIA that they were going to work with has already had a grant accepted with their name on it.
How does this, is this different than the Digital Main Street?
It is.
So it's a lab. This is a Digital Main Street lab?
In one case it was, I can't even remember what they are. So they're different. One is a program where it's for scheduling appointments and stuff online, and it's some sort of app. So that would be one of the companies. Another one has something similar but a bit different. So they're all sort of technology based, but they have to work with the BIA, and it's basically a test pilot, and then it can be expanded throughout Ontario.
Do we get any funding for it?
We do.
We
so
do.
We're listed as the partner, but there is some work that we would have to do, but it would pay for that.
So is that us paying ourselves, or are we having to hire somebody to do the work and then
It's
paying?
either way.
Okay.
So it really depends on the grant and how it's written. So the company that approached us, they wrote the grant, they did the budget, I looked at the budget, and they had funds set aside for us for either hiring someone to go out and do the work, or for us to go out and do it additionally. Okay. And then I can give you a rundown of our interactions, because the last meeting, it was requested that Taylor and I keep track of our interactions.
Yeah.
So we've each been tracking our own interactions. So just as a quick monthly sort of thing, and Taylor's was cut off. Okay, I believe Taylor's total interactions was around 170. So that was emails, phone calls, in person, direct messages, MailChimp, meetings, and then that's also broken down between members, community partners, cities or agencies, volunteers, and other.
So what would be the quick breakdown of those?
Well, I can give you one of mine because my sheet.
Oh, okay, all right, okay.
So just
So
to give you-
Taylor's total was 170.
Yeah, up to date.
Okay.
So mine right now.
From
is
when? Oh, from the last meeting?
From
So it's
November the
about a month.
1st.
Okay.
From November the 1st.
Oh, November 1st to
Yeah,
today.
we started tracking November 1st, and we've
Okay.
done it like weekly.
Perfect.
So mine right now are 455 interactions.
Okay.
So I can give you an idea for me to date right now, and this is on the low end.
Okay.
Okay, so I have 14 phone calls, 25 emails, 33 in person, 9 texts or direct messages. I haven't got any meetings or MailChimp, but I have a total of 81. Okay, so, and in that, again, it breaks down by members, community partners, cities, volunteers, other.
So of the 455, how many, regardless of what form, was members?
Members, I have a total of what form? I'd have to figure that out for you. So that's 86.
Regardless of what form,
Yep,
just roughly.
20. So I've got over 200, close to 250
Member interactions?
member interactions.
That's pretty impressive. And then the rest would be suppliers,
Well, cities,
volunteers.
volunteers,
Right.
community partners.
Okay.
Yeah, so, but yeah.
So if you add the two together, it's 625.
No, because all in total, my total interactions are
No,
450.
no, yours and
Oh,
Taylor's.
Oh, yeah, my in Taylor's, yeah,
5.
Okay,
yeah.
great.
So, and that's as of today.
So I'd like to say 2 things. First of all, thank you and Taylor for doing that and doing such a good job of doing that. Secondly, what it helps me see is that there's a lot more interaction going on than I was aware of and that maybe anybody was aware of. So I can see the value in continuing to keep track of the interactions. And it's good information to have for now and in the future for people to see, to realize the role that the BI plays in the downtown.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, who's going to be hard pressed to give you that kind of one-to-one relationship?
Yeah.
So, sure.
And 625 interactions with members and volunteers and et cetera that's a lot of work. That's a lot of
That's what we're here for.
communication.
Yep.
Exactly.
That's a lot of interaction. So, good. Thank you for that. Anything else?
No, just letting you know that Michael has joined us. We still don't have a quorum though.
I just sent Andrea. Welcome, Michael. Glad to have you on.
I don't see his mic.
Well, it's okay. He's probably hearing us. We're just going through the non-approval items on the agendas because we don't have quorum yet. We're waiting on one more. Anything else, Angela?
No, that's it.
Essentially, you've done number 8, which is processing and tracking member communications.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for that. Let's run through the committee reports. Hopefully, if we get quorum by the time we get to the end of it, we can vote on all of it. Glenn, anything on economic and beautification update?
Yes.
Jeanette's not here, so.
So 2 items that I really would want to discuss. The first one is the wreaths. So our initial thought was we don't have the budget to put the wreaths up. We own them and they're sitting in a storage unit. And what a shame that is that they don't get put up. But Angela and Taylor have worked their butts off arranging for volunteers, arranging for the tie straps, and arranging for trucking and transportation so that we can get them up at very low cost. And that's going to be starting this weekend. So whether we get all 200 up or not, I mean, that's the goal and that's the plan. But anything we can put up, whether it's 30, 40, 50, 100, is better than putting nothing up. So, and the other thing we're going to try and do is to make sure we get, put them up in the expanded areas as well, so that there's coverage there, which I don't think we did last year or
We did
not
some.
fully anyway.
Yeah, we did some.
So that's good news on that front. So we're making do what we can with what little resources we have. The other thing that we discussed and we haven't really yet come to a conclusion is just a quick review of the Let's Shop and the Let's Eat brochures. We obviously don't have money to redo the Let's Eat brochures, even though they were a huge success, very well received. We got a lot of commendation on them, and the restaurants, any restaurant that was in it, appreciated them and benefited from them. However, we do still have several hundred Let's Shop brochures, and so the consideration is, can we find the money to maybe distribute some of those? This would be the time to do it if we're going to do it. Even though there's one store in there that's closed, which is Sky's Clothing, all the other stores are still viable, are still open and still in business. So hopefully we can figure something out between now and, well, over the next week or two to distribute some of those. I mean, I can distribute some of them, but we were talking about the value of getting them in residences that are in the downtown area. So hopefully we'll be able to have something more concrete on that by the time we have our next board meeting. Oh no, we don't have one in December, do we?
No.
We don't.
So I mean, we'll get done what we can do.
Glenn, it's Kyle. Can I ask a question?
That's all we can do.
Sorry, somebody had mentioned something. Is that Michael? Is that you?
Oh, it's Kyle.
Oh, sorry, Kyle.
That's Kyle. Yeah, so Glenn, is there an electronic version of either of those documents?
So Let's Eat.
Is there electronic versions of those documents?
There isn't the Let's Eat, because I know that we had supplied that to Ontario Tech and Trent to put up for their graduation sites in 2019.
So the answer is yes.
Yes, for one of
Let's
them.
Eat.
I'm not 100% sure about Let's Shop. I'll have to dig for that.
Well, for sure, I'm pretty sure there is. I don't know where it would be or
Yeah.
who has it.
So
You'd have to
what do you-
double check.
so I think the answer is partially yes, Kyle. What are you thinking of?
So if it's a yes, then ship it off to us and we'll just include it as part of our Oshawa's local piece and try to sort of push that out as much as possible.
Who was the one you wanted to send it to?
You
We'll
broke
send it out across the community, but we just need an electronic version because we're not doing anything physical.
I believe I have both electronic versions because they're on our website. So I should have them on my laptop somewhere and I can email them to Brett. He's been in communication with me about the Oshawa Loves Local campaign. So I'll see if he can send them out or do something with them.
Great. Thanks, Taylor.
No problem.
Thank you, Kyle.
Thank you, Taylor. That's great.
Hey, question for Taylor. It's Sue. Taylor, if it's would you be able to remove a page electronically of Sky's Clothing, for example?
Yeah, I can take a look at it as long as it's like a full page. I haven't looked at it recently, so I can't remember off the top of my head. But I
That
can
was a
definitely,
full page,
okay, I can definitely try to remove it then.
right? That Glenn, that would help out, if that page
Yeah.
came out.
Yeah, that would be perfect. All the other, that's the only one that's not in business.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
All right.
So it's still very current and very relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you, Taylor. That'd be great.
Yeah, no problem.
Anything else, Glenn?
Yeah, so we also want to run another Discover This Space again. So we're going to work at getting the information together for that so that we can start make plans to have a press release and get the information together that's got to be gotten together so that we can run another Discover the Space and hopefully get another winner and another downtown tenant.
So I can add to that.
Okay,
So
go ahead.
I actually spoke with Teresa at BACD today, and we're working on dates for when the courses are, because when we send out the package, we include the dates, because the courses are mandatory. So everyone needs to know that in advance. Our hope is that next week, Teresa will have that information to me. So by the middle of December, we can have that out. And then the plan is to give a month and a half to 2 months for people to send submissions, and then the courses would continue. The one thing that we had also discussed at the last economic development meeting was to add a COVID sort of piece in there, because normally we want them to open up 2 to 3 months after they've taken all the courses and everything. But we have added something that if there's the pandemic, there's an extension that will be granted. And then at that point, the date would be determined.
Okay, anything else, Glenn?
No.
Great, thank you for that update. Looks like there's a lot of things on the go. Good for you. And look forward to getting
Angela,
through.
Angela, I have a question.
Yep.
Go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah, so it's Kyle again. What's the magnitude of cost around sort of the Discover the Space piece?
So it's $1,000 commitment from the budget per month for a year that goes directly to the property owner.
Okay, so
Is that-
basically 12 grand.
Yes.
That was in the budget there, Kyle. What were you thinking?
No, I'm just trying to get a sense of sort of some of the cost of these things. Thank you.
Yeah, it was in the budget. I mean, you can see it, there's a line item for Discover the Space there.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, great.
Just actually, if I could follow up on that question, if we have the vote coming up, is that going to impede the program, or does it get tossed over to the city and then the city follows through with it if we make that commitment now?
Well, we don't actually make a commitment until the whole courses have been completed. So if the vote goes south and there is no BIA, then the program doesn't go forward, right?
It's a good point, though. The city could opt to take it on. Maybe that's what we're thinking of, Kyle. That's what I was thinking of when you're asking how much. Would there be a budget at the city to pick it up?
Yeah, without being too negative, I've always got kind of the worst case in the back of my mind. And so I'm just kind of thinking out sort of what kind of costs might we have to assume. And so that was the origin of the question.
Great. Does that work for you, Cindy?
Sure.
Great. Any other questions?
Could I just a question on Sue? Question on the wreaths, and I apologize. I know we were trying to see if the city could help get them up. And I know, I don't know that the last email that we were back and forth with Ivano, with you and Angela, was the ask would have to go through the clerks and then council approve, which would probably the next council is not until the 14th of December. So I guess is it worth doing anything? You do it with volunteers yourself?
Oh, we found a way to get around it, but yeah, I mean, you're right. So I mean, the lengthy process to get it through City Hall. I mean, we're waiting on permits. We're ready to go, but at the end of the day, it's done. Yeah, it's just, it'd been nice for the city to step up. We're a little,
yeah, I know.
Little, that's okay. It happens. I mean, we just got to have a longer runway to deal with people.
Yeah.
We looked at it and said, it's better to bring a little bit of Christmas joy and decoration to the downtown rather than leave it empty, because the baskets aren't there. So it's something better than nothing is our approach. And we're going to do it.
Yeah, no, I applaud you for what you've been able to pivot quickly and do that. We tried, but no, thanks for stepping up.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, over to governance. Michael, do you have any updates for that? Was he online?
He is, and his mic is on. I just don't hear him.
Okay, maybe we'll come back to Michael. Next is marketing communications. Isaac?
Yep, thank you. I've got a small, albeit important update. In our last meeting, we focused most of our time and attention on the marketing plan for 2021 that we created. The intention and hope was to, at some point during today's meeting, have a vote on that plan. But again, I realize we don't have quorum at the moment. So, and I know that Taylor's on this call, and I didn't want to steal any thunder, but I did ask her if she could maybe just take us through the marketing plan that was created. And I did want to point out great work by both Taylor and Angela helping facilitate that process and the final document that was created. So Taylor, do you want to take us through just some of the key points, please?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So one of the things to note at the beginning of the document, it kind of highlights whose role is what. We currently have, obviously, my position, so marketing and communications coordinator, which takes on the brunt of the responsibilities and seeing the day-to-day tasks and getting projects rolled out. The marketing committee's role is to determine what those marketing objectives are, approve spending, and of course help create campaigns and guidance and bring ideas. And then very high level, the board of directors' role is to determine the overall strategic objective in the plan that will allow the marketing committee to then execute those duties and create the specific marketing plan. We also have a SWOT analysis, so it just identifies kind of where we are, what opportunities there are, and what threats we have. Currently, the biggest threats are, of course, COVID-19, the outsiders' perception of Oshawa, and membership unrest. Hopefully, 2 of those 3 things we'll be able to tackle in the next few months and get settled down. And then from there, we really just have 2 main initiatives. The first one is general promotion of the downtown by building and utilizing our existing and future social media channels and other traditional marketing channels, including our website. The second biggest initiative for next year will be the continuation of phase 2 in building the rest of the website, which will give us more back-end access and improve the overall user experience. And then breaks down our target markets. I won't go into detail about that. That's pretty straightforward. We have some buyer personas and examples to help us get into, I guess, the consumer's head, so to say. And then we included a piece about community partners. So really where we can draw from in the community and who we can get to help us, help get the word out, who we can collaborate with. So some of those are the City of Oshawa, the post-secondary institutions, BACD/Digital Main Street, and then Durham Regional Police. Those were identified as the 4 biggest ones. And then we have a breakdown of the budget and our marketing channels. But again, that stuff is kind of been discussed in the past and is pretty straightforward. So unless anyone has any questions, that's it from me.
And I think the one thing I'd like to also just point out before we take any questions would be the fact that, of course, this marketing plan was created in the absence of a strategic plan being done at this time, right? So as Taylor had mentioned at the beginning of her summary there, typically we would use the strategic plan to help drive how we would construct the marketing plan, right? But again, we did create something in absence of having no strategic plan at the moment. So hopefully that makes sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So any questions?
Any questions to the board members?
I don't have a question. I just wanted to commend them on this. This is well thought out and well put together. Not that I've had a chance to go over it very in detail, but from what I see, it looks very practical and very well put together. And good job, Taylor and
Isaac.
I put it together in a way that hopefully we can use in the future. You know, a bit of a template as well that you can kind of go in, and as things need to be changed or adjusted, it's fairly easy and straightforward. So hopefully it works in the future as well.
Well, very good.
Thanks, guys. Good job.
So just quickly, ideally, we at some point we'd be looking to get a vote on adopting this as the marketing plan for 2021. But I realize again we can't vote right now. So, anyways, just a side note.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get quorum before the meeting ends, but
Yeah.
if not, we may have to do it over the phone very quick. quorum session to get everybody to vote on everything. But let's get it out of the way for the time being for now. Oh, Michael, can you hear us now?
Yeah, I'm back in. Sorry about that. My internet cut out on me.
No worries. Do you want to do the governance update?
Sure. So governance continues to run. Last meeting we just discussed and made some changes to a couple of things. The committee application had a minor adjustment and looked at a volunteer policy that we have pretty well ready to go, but putting that on hold until decision with the city comes through. If we continue to exist, then we'll be working with the city on that and all our other policies and procedures to make sure that they meet expectations and requirements with them. And other than that, just the survey results from the last couple of board meetings, couple of issues. Members were a little concerned with active involvement in discussions of all board members, as well as the inability to have meetings in person, and wanting to discourage from some of the Zoom stuff, which I understand that you get a lot better results in person, but for the time being, we aren't even allowed to meet in person while we're in the red zone. So something to consider for the future, though, about whether we continue with Zoom meetings or requiring in person once this pandemic is behind us.
Great. Any questions of Michael? Michael, just a quick question from my part. It's Ivano here. You said something on the first one around the discussion within board members. Is that what? Can you give some context on that comment?
I cannot. It's not my personal opinions. This is just the survey results that go out every week. So one of the questions in the survey is, did you feel like the discussion between board members was active and all board members were engaged? And it was just one response that said they had some concerns with that.
Okay.
With all board members being actively engaged in the discussions, but just something to note.
Good. Okay.
It's good to bring those concerns to light. So.
Yeah, no, thank you for the people who raised that. That's good. I didn't quite get it. So thanks for giving it to me the second time, because I understand where it's coming from. Any other questions? Hearing none. Cindy, do you want to do community development update?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So for community development, we had our meeting with DRPS, and unfortunately I wasn't able to attend this month. So I'll pass that off to Angela if there's any updates from that meeting.
There wasn't really that much. We're just still trying to work together. They had another meeting to go to. Ivana had brought forward 4 points that we discussed. I can't remember what the note said on those because it's been a while. But things are progressing really well. I think the police are quite liking the relationship that we're building as we are. It seems to be very amicable. They feel confident and trust us when they call us with requests and are appreciative of the information that we're sending. So things are moving reciprocal, which is really nice. Where in the past there wasn't much communication. So, they were very appreciative that we sent those videos along and they could identify. They did report back the actions that they were taking because of that. Then we also let them know that they weren't the only organization that we notified, and what the request was of the other organizations, just so that they were aware. Oh yeah, so they had asked us to see if we could reestablish, and I think it was called the pre-COVID city meetings. And they had sent us an email about that to who was on it, and that's where we got Julie's name from. And then just, again, like the number of disorderly reports versus actual vandalism and break-ins and stuff. So that was pretty much it.
Very cool. And just for clarity, I'm not sure where we landed in the earlier discussion when we were talking about that committee meeting, because just so we know for sure, Kyle, you had mentioned maybe we were in touch with the wrong person. Who's responsible for following up on that? Did you want us to follow up on that, or is that something you guys from the city end are going to take on? I don't want I don't want anything getting dropped on this, because it did seem like a really valuable committee. If the DRPS saw value in it, then and if they're willing to engage, and obviously they're pushing for it, I just want to make sure we're doing our due diligence. And I wasn't sure where that conversation ended, if it was on us to try to follow up, or if you were going to give us a new contact.
I'm just looking at kind of where we go from here, and I think we need to make sure that we've got that contact back with the DPRS. So let's try to do it in parallel, and that way it won't fall through the cracks.
Sorry, I reached out to Julie already. She hasn't responded. So can you guys, I was taking it that either Sue or Kyle, you guys are at the office there, or have her contact. Just if you can give her a shake to get a hold of us, either Cindy or myself, to reconstitute whatever. We weren't involved in those meetings, so we're not really sure. The DRPS were, and they said it was valuable, and they asked us to intervene and find a way to restart those meetings. So that's all we're trying to do. So if it's not Julie, let us know who it is, or if you get a hold of Julie, tell her to get a hold of either me or Cindy.
We'll give Julie a call and see where she's.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, we'll give Julie a call and see if she's A, the person, or B, if she's moved on to somebody else and what they're doing with it.
Yes, please.
Perfect.
Then let Cindy or myself, or let Cindy know. It's her committee, but we were involved. We were both involved with DRPS.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So thanks for taking that on, and we look forward to hearing how it's going to unfold. So that wraps up the DRPS piece. Next was Welcoming Streets. We don't have any representatives on the community for Welcoming Streets anymore. So I don't mean to put Sue on the spot, but if there's any relevant updates that you're aware of, if you could share.
So I'll chime in again.
Oh, perfect.
So at council, unless you want to do it, but so our report on sort of the next phase of Welcoming Streets was at council on Monday of this week, I believe.
That's right.
Doesn't really matter what date it was, but fairly recently. And so the report was there, and our recommendations coming out of the report were really twofold. One is that we think it's a valuable program and that we'd like to see it continue through 2021. And then the second piece of that was, yes, it's a valuable program, but it's not really a core municipal function. And so our recommendation was to basically kick it up to the region through some of their public health and social services committee and departments, and really ask them to take it on. So that was approved this week, and will be going off to the region for consideration in December. We think that it's going to get a fairly positive reception at the region, just given some of the chatter in the background. But we'd like to see it basically continue, but not with particularly much in the way of city money into it, given sort of the roles and responsibilities between the region and the city. So that's kind of where we stand. And I think at this point, we've had some conversations with our finance department in terms of transition and things like that. So at this point, I think it's really going to come down to what the region wants to do with this in 2021. There's a good case for going that route, just because they've got sort of so many other sort of programs underway. It really gives them a chance to do some coordination between some of the programs that are out there and make sure that we got a full suite of things that are happening. So that's kind of where we stand with kind of Welcoming Streets. Thank you.
Our agreement ends on December 31st or December 1st, Kyle?
December 31st.
I'm pretty sure it's the end of the year.
And maybe I'll ask Cindy or either Kyle or Sue. Was one of the exit criteria a final report? And I don't know, is that the city report you're referring to, or do we have to chase Kim or Jeff, whoever's running the program now? I'm thinking we should close it out for our members and produce a final outcome report, or maybe an infographic to say in our next newsletter to say that we spent the year doing this and here's what we got out of it. We haven't done any of that communication yet.
Yeah. So as part of our report, which went in, can't remember my months now, when it went to Development Services Committee, but the council report that went this week from us actually summarized a number of sort of the activities to date. So that could be very shareable with the members, and talks about kind of what, you know, the origins, what has been done, what's been happening recently, some of the issues that are out there, and then some of the results, both from a unsheltered perspective as well as some of the business perspective. So if you guys can't find the report, just let us know. We'll ship it off to you. And that's probably the piece to be shared with the members. And then at this point, it's really kind of what does the region do with our recommendation?
Yeah, so I'll
So
go back.
there's no need for any further reporting from the BIA.
Right. Well, no, I was thinking the other way around. I mean, we signed it as a tripartite agreement. There were some exit criteria, I think, one of which was a summary report. We at least want to show the due diligence to our members to say, you know, we were in it for this. Here's the report and findings, and we're closed out and the contract's complete.
Okay. So I would use our report as your summary report, or however you want to put a cover over that, because I think it pretty well sums up sort of where we were at the end of kind of October, early November.
Great.
Ivano, I'll send you the report. It was November 9. I'm just going into a board meeting, another one shortly, so I'll send it to you. If it's not tonight, I'll send you tomorrow morning, the report.
Perfect. Yeah, perfect. That'd be great. Thanks, Sue.
Oh, you're welcome.
Sorry, Cindy, I cut you off in the middle of your update. Sorry.
No worries. So I think that wraps up Welcoming Streets. Our other project is the accessibility, the ramps downtown. And at the meeting, we're in a holding pattern somewhat. And I'm not sure, Angela, if anything's been progressing on that end or if we're still kind of on hold.
We're still sort of on hold. We have been looking at doorbells though, because someone brought up the fact that, great, we've got these ramps, but how are people going to be able to let the business know that they need to bring the ramp out? So we've been investigating the cost of doorbells that would just be put on the outside and not a huge range, like maybe 100 feet. So right now we're just collecting that data to see what we're going forward. And we're also waiting from the Tweed grant for them to send us a logo so we can design stickers to go on even the smaller ramps.
Very cool. Awesome. Okay, thank you. And the last item was community building, which will tie into we had a really good discussion about the committee. Some concerns have been expressed as to whether or not this is a valid committee to have in a BIA. So we did talk about the pros and cons of having a community development committee. And I think overall we decided people, I think, are misunderstanding the intent of the committee, and they're seeing their BIA dollars go to social services, which is absolutely not the case. The committee was struck because the #1 issue and concern of downtown was, currently dealing with the unsheltered population. And we've heard from our member today, incidents of vandalism and whatnot is definitely on the rise downtown. So it's obviously a hot topic with the members. We thought this committee would kind of help with communication, as we've been doing with DRPS, sharing information with the members and whatnot. But again, concerns have been raised about the appropriateness of the committee. So we kind of discussed, pending the outcome of the vote, restructuring the committee somewhat and making it crystal clear to the members that it is more about communication and community development, networking, coming together as a more cohesive downtown and information sharing, as opposed to any misconception that we're focusing on social services or using our budget towards supporting social services. So not that the committee suspended, but like I said, pending the outcome of the vote, we might restructure. And I mean, we even talked about the merits of fielding off our components to other committees and disbanding the committee. But overall, we felt the need for an enhanced communication and kind of like more of a downtown neighborhood feel was important. So just really shifting how we're promoting the committee to communication and networking. So I guess we'll see how that fleshes out in the new year. And that's my report for community development.
What about the town hall meeting?
I wasn't able to attend the town hall meeting, and I wasn't sure if that was covered in the marketing, but obviously it wasn't. So Angela, would you be able to speak to that on my
I'm
behalf?
actually going to get Taylor to speak to it.
Okay, thank you.
Taylor, you're up.
Yeah, sorry, I missed that. You cut out. What did you want me to report on?
The town hall meeting.
Oh, the town hall meeting. Okay, it went pretty well. There was a slightly lower attendance than what we've had for the other ones, but we kind of expected that because the topic was more about tools for small businesses as opposed to some of the burning questions and concerns that our members raised. We have heard feedback from a few people who attended and they loved what they heard. They wanted more information. And we're seeking out that kind of stuff. A lot of questions, of course, on the time of use versus tiered meter system, I guess, for the power. So we've sent them to the appropriate links for OEB and with Oshawa Power. But other than that, it went off quite well. Our speakers had a fantastic time as well. So yeah.
Good. Thanks for that update. And I guess this speaks to your point earlier, Cindy, around sort of information and education as part of the community development component. So it's good. Any questions for Cindy? Okay, thank you. Hearing none. Andrea's not here for events, but Angela, do you, not that we have any, but do you want to give any updates on?
Well, we didn't, well, we had a meeting, even though Andrea wasn't there. There weren't very many of us, and pretty much it was just looking at the dates for the meetings for next year, because the previous meeting we decided that we would keep going with the meetings. Some discussion around some potential things that we could do in the future. But there wasn't really anything decided. But just, keeping ideas going for all sorts of different events. Taylor, can you remember anything other?
We went over the event application a little bit. Greg had gone through it and said that it was fairly easy to understand and straightforward. So that was about it.
Yeah, which is what we were hoping for as well, is to have someone, look through it, make sure that it was easy to follow and be able to provide information. And he also submitted an application, which was nice.
So just thinking, I mean, yes, 1 week from now, life might look a lot different for us, but at some point, let's say life looks fine after that. We need to sort of communicate this out, get it on our website. These are our plans for 2021, and we're going to turn the calendar in less than a month or so. I think it's about getting people ready for that, to see what where we're going with it. So the communication piece to roll out with this.
Yeah.
Good. I think that's one of the things people, one of the city council comments was, "Oh, we could run the events, and it takes nothing to run Cars on King," and sort of they slough off the requirements to get those things done in a very backhanded kind of way. Well, there's a lot more than just Cars on King. It takes a lot to do that, but there's a lot more than that. And so part of it is we're likely not communicating all the items as broadly as we can to show all the values there, notwithstanding these 700 engagements we just did in less than a month. It's somewhat like that. We've got to be able to tell people that. So think of that through the events committee, which is great. Thank you for that update. Finance and audit. We still don't have quorum, right?
We do not.
Okay. So we finally got the 2019 audited financial statements. You have them there with you. I'm happy to take any questions. I can walk you through them if you like. There is one particular note that's important. It's called, it's a restated note, note number 2. And it really reflects the fact that the city overpaid us the $40,000 in 2018, and we had to restate, we had to pay that, sorry, 2017, we had to repay it back in 2018,
No.
or the other way around.
It was, we were overpaid in 2018.
18, and we had to
and
pay
then
back.
Yeah, so they gave us less in 2019.
Right. So they restated 2018's notes to reflect that, and that closed out 2019. So you can see the correction of a prior period error in note number 2 on page 8 of the financial statements, where they reflect the ins and the outs of that transaction. Nothing huge. We knew that as a board. It's just a matter of going back to restate 2018s, which were signed off. We passed audit, which was great. No issues identified. We asked several questions, and Angela, you took down some of the notes. We had the auditor opine on what the city's audit review was, and mostly the questions were related to, given an organization our size and our not-for-profit status and our situation, is it common, or is it abnormal to find these kinds of things? I think all the answers, we asked 4 questions. I don't have them specifically in front of me. Audit committee had them, but all the answers were right in line with what we expected. It's not uncommon to find some of the things that the city found in their audit, which made me feel comfortable. Yes, it's improvements we have to make, but it made me feel more comfortable with the fact that, yes, we have improvements to make, but there's nothing significantly erroneous or mismanaged in some of the words that are being used and thrown around by what was found at the city forensic audit. So really happy about that. They apologized profusely for being very late with the audit. They chalked it up. We had the partner make the presentation, which we've never done before, but this is all, in my world, it's always a standard practice to let the audit firm partner lead make the presentation of the financial statements, which they did. Like I said, they apologized profusely. We have it all on tape, I guess, to corroborate this, in a sense that they explained that COVID and a bunch of other audits got in the way of this one before they got a chance to get it to us. And it's not typical for them to get us a year before statement completed in November when we started it in January. Other than that, it's a clean audit, and it definitely reflects our situation and where we went with 2019. And Glenn was happy to co-sign it along with me. And it's passed through the audit committee, which most people on this call were part of that audit committee meeting. Happy to take any questions. Hearing none, we can't approve them through the board yet because we don't have quorum. But again, if you have any questions after the fact, glad to get this behind us. Check this box and call it done. We are preparing for 2020's audit, which is great. We're ahead of schedule for that. The next item is October financials. The financials are in front of you. I'm happy to walk through them with you if you like. I've identified some of the overage numbers and the percentage on the right-hand side of budget. Everything seems to be tracking according to plan, so we're in good shape. We're going to be left with a small surplus at the end, which is right in line with what we expected. So good job to Angela and the team for managing the numbers. Talked about it earlier. Our revenue somewhat stopped in June, and we were pretty much managing expenses between June and December, which we basically landed on the button in terms of what we wanted to do. A big thank you to the team, Angela and company. The one item on sponsorships, grants, and other revenues on the revenue line is flagging as better than expected in terms of the budget for the year versus what the actuals are. We're 209% of the budget, so you brought in the money. Thank you very much on behalf of the membership. We went over on a couple of line items like stationery supplies and photocopy materials. That's reflective of the increased cost in toner and a bunch of things that we didn't have budgeted in terms of replacing the toner, those kinds of things that get expensive. So they hit us one time. So we're slightly above on that, 110%. Our miscellaneous costs at 175%. Not really worried about that. Those are the odds and ends that we get. We budgeted 100, we're at 175. We don't expect to go further over with that. The banking fees, estimating what it costs to do the banking transactions, slightly over than what we budgeted. We're at 128% with another couple of months to go. So a bit more over expected on that. And then last but not least, we expected Bright and Mary. We have the other payments in the lights that we didn't have in the budget, but we had to make that payment for in terms of procuring the festival lights. So we're at 139%, which is significant. We're $12,000 spent on an $8,000 budget, but we knew we were going to be over on that. I'll point you to a couple of items that were unbudgeted that we did support. The Troubadour series, we spent $7,600 when we had no budget allocated to that. But we felt that would, as a board, that was a very prudent thing to do in terms of helping the businesses out. So thanks to you for supporting that. I'm sure the restaurants appreciated that kind of support. Yeah, and then the numbers basically tally up. On the disbursements, the total disbursement side, with November and December to go, we're pretty much 89% spent. So we're in pretty good shape. The details on the balance sheet are attached. Again, it's showing that we have funds in the bank to carry us for the last couple of months. We don't feel too concerned with cash flow. And essentially, those line items for the events and the details are in front of you. Again, we cannot vote on this. It's passed through Finance and Audit Committee, but if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. We did talk about forecast to the end of the year. Angela put together a nice forecast, given all the things we've talked about, the wreaths and these extras that we were not hoping to do or not planning to do because we were on tight financials months back. We have the financials to cover it. She's done the forecast. We're landing in safe and sound. So forecast looks good. The year to date looks good, and we're in good shape. Not hearing any more questions. I'll keep going.
Just one comment. Great job, everyone, this year. Tough job to make this work, but great job by everyone.
Thanks, Isaac. And that's a great segue because we had one follow-up item from one of the corrections at the city finances to have a more skilled treasurer in place. And we were happy to talk about that at Finance and Audit, knowing that Isaac has a lot more credentials than I have in terms of this area. So we were happy to have Isaac take on the responsibility of treasurer going forward. The trouble, Isaac, is we can't actually invoke that because we can't get it through the board. There's no quorum to vote on it. But I wanted to identify to everyone that Isaac will gladly take on the treasurer role moving forward, and I'm happy to hand over the reins to him, at least in half decent shape before everything goes wherever it's got to go. So
you saying that tongue in cheek there, Ivano? A
little bit. I'm not sure. It's going to be balanced by the end of the year, but what happens after that, I don't know. I'm not sure. I guess it's up to the members. But no, I think you'll do a great job. I think you have a better handle on this, and I reiterate it wasn't fair to hand this over to anybody in the midst of the chaos we went through for this year. So I swallowed the pill and said, I'll keep going. But I'm actually glad that you're stepping up to this one. It should be arm's length from the chair anyways. The fact that I did it because there was a vacancy, that's fine. But I like the fact that we've separated it out. So thanks for doing that, Isaac.
Yeah, you're welcome. And I guess at some point I know we talked about a bigger reorg, right? Obviously with that going on, I guess we can chat about that as well. Like, how would that all play out?
Yeah, I think at the next meeting we'll look for a marketing communications chair, since you're doing that. Again, you're going to be in that tough role of holding 2 seats. But yeah, by the next meeting, I think we'll look at the committee chairs and see if we want to reshuffle them around.
Yep, sounds good. Sounds good.
Excellent. New business. There's nobody. Daryl has not signed on.
Daryl's not signed on.
Okay.
Because we should probably do that one at the very end.
Yeah. So let's do that at the end. So let's go through the city report on number 13. Kyle, do you want to give that?
I'm gonna look to Sue, but I think she's double booked here, so I think it's up to
I'm
me.
still, it's funny, I'm
Actually,
still
why
on.
don't
I
you
was just
talk
gonna,
about-
Sue, do you mind doing the city
Go
report?
ahead,
Is that okay?
Sue, do your piece and then I'll,
okay, yeah, sorry, I was just gonna jump off. I was just gonna chat because I've got another board meeting to get ready for. City report. I have not written anything down for the first time. I apologize profusely. I guess there's a couple good things going on. I actually went to the Biltmore yesterday, the former Odeon, and wow, it's really coming along quite nicely, what they're doing. They're getting ready, actually the projector's coming.
Oh,
Gonna come in. And
watch this.
ready to be, can you still hear me?
you cut out for a second there, Sue. At the projector's coming.
Yeah, sorry, somebody tried to come in on my phone there. The projector, everything's in, actually, all the equipment and the screen's coming shortly. It's quite incredible. I know Julius would love to show it to anybody, so they're making great headway. Second is on King Street at the old gift house, 18 King Street, the Lovell building. A new tenant has just come in. If anyone has seen her, Joyce Hancock Designs. Woman's incredible. She's been in seamstress business, designing clothes for 37 years, and she's quite a destination store. So she is just started a couple weeks ago, and she'll be up and running quite shortly. And I think that'll be incredible. It's we've really talked about part of the gentrification, the revitalization of downtown is we need more than just the restaurants are great, but we need the cultural hub, but we need stores. We need different types of retail for people to come down. And so I think she'll be an amazing addition. She's actually she's in a one building that's 2 West right now because they're renovating the entire gift house and redoing the floors, and she'll make it quite the area. So there's that. And actually I was on the phone today with a new tenant on Bond Street who will do a completely vegan-based, plant-based restaurant. They've had a few hiccups, so I ended up been on the phone back and forth. Amazing couple. Her husband's been a chef for 15 years in Toronto. They've got a lot of Toronto clientele who will come out. And actually with Matilda's, there's people who come out from Toronto just for her food. So that's another, I think, great restaurant that will come to Oshawa. I'm sort of going off the cuff here.
Where is that, Sue?
That's on what is it called? What was the guy called? Don Ayers or something was there on Bond, east of Simcoe on the south side.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So she's had some delays in moving in. And in Vaughan's, not you, it's Enbridge. So they're working through that, and hopefully she will be up and running in January. I've been doing some work with another, which is too soon to talk about, but is another of setting up podcasts, is looking at it's really between Pickering, Ajax, and downtown Oshawa. And I was on the phone with this person again today, looking at podcasts, actually really doing some cool stuff, actually helping entrepreneurs with media courses, because as you know, every business really has to understand media right now and has to be online. So all sorts of different things. He's done that in Barrie. He's a dean and has some interest in downtown. So there's some really interesting things that are going on, not just restaurants, but cultural. And actually another building was just sold in downtown. So they'll clean that up, and it won't be a redevelopment, it'll be a retail. So there's some been some really great activity downtown the last few months. So that's it for me. It's just a quick high level.
Great, thank you. Kyle, anything to add?
Sue, do you want to talk just a little about, I guess, at the Mayor's Economic Recovery Task Force, Vano had sent in a letter on your behalf regarding sort of curbside pickup as things close down perhaps a bit more going forward. And so we're just kind of working through that now to see kind of what it means. And Sue, I don't know if you got anything else to add to that one, but it's been received and it's going through the process.
Just going through the process. I've actually been back and forth on that on email while we've been on the call. You know, Angela's done a great job in chatting with all the restaurants, and thank you, Ange, for that. And I toured yesterday to restaurants, the businesses, and had chats, and it looks like some really good support out of 15. I looked at 13 were for curbside pickup. It's going through the process at the city now. They may request that I engage more to get a true representation. I don't know. I'll keep you in the loop on that. But we've through Angela and I, we did our walks. We picked out I think 6 good zones that really encapsulated most of the restaurants and some of the non-restaurant businesses. So I'll just find out from the city how that moves forward. But the restaurants I talked to were very excited about having it. And I think it's a great addition. This was Angela's idea that came out, and I think it's well done because it's a real opportunity. If they go with the color purple that was chosen, then I think it's a great opportunity for curbside pickup. And it's just showing that the downtown business organization, management, and the city is trying to help the businesses out.
Sue, anything on timing? Like, what do you think the timing will be? Or
I don't know yet, Ivano. We just back and forth, actually, just up to half an hour ago. And they may want more data. I'm not sure. And if they do, I'll get on that right away.
Great.
And then it will go to community services, and they will. We've done a lot of background work with operations, so they can get ready and figure out how to do that. And bylaw will get involved. So I will keep you definitely in the loop on that.
Perfect. It's just timely for the second wave as we get into the heavy Christmas season and people get a chance to at least order out and pick up as opposed to sitting in a restaurant.
Exactly.
Great.
And I don't know if I missed anything else, Kyle.
A couple of little items from me, and I believe Angela, you may have already shared this with the members, but I guess it was a day or two ago they came out with the rent relief program from, I believe, the feds or the province, can never keep it straight, as well as the other program, which has just been noted around sort of property tax relief, and there's still a lot of questions around that. So if you haven't gotten that out to the members, then we'll send something to Angela tomorrow so that you guys can send out. And then the other piece was another program that's been announced is basically a bit of an infrastructure kind of program. I believe from, again, the feds or province, I can't keep them straight. And it's really looking at kind of some quick start kind of infrastructure programs. And I think the city is looking at putting phase 3 of the streetscape pieces into that sort of request. It doesn't really change anything because it's in our budget right now. So it's likely to, we had budget hearings on Friday, so that's when we start there. But assuming it's already in our budget, if we can get external funding for it, then even great. It just gives us the ability to do some other things. So that's really kind of my update, Mr. Chair.
Great. Any questions from board members?
The property tax relief initiative you're just talking about, is that a provincial or regional or city initiative?
I believe it was regional, just based on something I saw a couple of hours ago. Still pretty vague, but I believe they're actually starting to take applications. So we'll flip that information to Angela to get out to people.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Okay, hearing none. Thank you for that update. Thanks, Sue. Thanks, Kyle. Quickly, just correspondence. Angela, do you want to go through the letters or do you want me to go through them?
I'll let you go through them.
Okay, so we've received a letter from the city of Oshawa. This one you have the details on, Angela, regarding the decision of
It
city
was sent-
council.
It was sent to everyone.
It was sent to everyone,
Yeah,
but
all the board
But
members
essentially,
have
it spoke to the issue of not communicating a preference for the vote one way or the other.
Yeah.
That's up and coming. We also received correspondence from Jennifer French regarding electing for good neighbors. Sort of dovetails with your initiative, Cindy, if you think about it in terms of being part of the community. She's trying to get a nomination going for people who are a great neighbor in the neighborhood. So we've just accepted and received that correspondence. Did we get any other correspondence? No,
No.
that one item we're going to put under new business?
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions on the correspondence? Sorry, let me add a couple of ones. Sue mentioned it. We sent a letter off to Sue in the city regarding the designated pickup zones. And I think we also sent a supporting quote for the Shop Local initiative that the city put out with Invest Oshawa, with the chamber and ourselves in terms of buying local or shopping local. It's Oshawa Loves Local is the handle on it. And Angela and team went around dropping off a lot of those posters. Any feedback from people with those posters?
No, I've seen a lot that have had them out. Some put them up immediately, some didn't, some have them inside their stores. We were asking for them to put them on the windows just so that as people drove by, it would be bombarded with seeing Shop Local. But
A couple of people refused.
yeah, there's always a couple of that refuse. And some of them can't because they're
Landlord prevents them.
no, they're a franchise. So like the bargain shop can't actually put it out in the public, but they can put it in their lunchroom. So I always ask for the places that say that they can't, if they can put it in their lunchroom, at least so that their staff sees it.
Great, thank you for doing that. New business. Before we go in camera, we have one item for in camera. That's just an update. So on the new business side, Angela, you want to talk about the meeting dates for 2021?
Yeah, so I have sent everyone in the package, there's suggested meeting dates for the board as well as each of the committees. Each of the committees have said that those were fine. You'll see that there's some such as events, family day, the meeting falls on that day. So what's been decided at committee level is in the January meeting, we will determine when the February meeting will take place because no one's going to want to come in on a holiday. But this is just so that everyone has it. Beginning of next month, we'll be sending out the meeting invites. So it gets populated into everyone's calendar for the year.
Thank you for that. So they're locked and loaded for 2021. Thanks for thinking ahead. The parking study. So the Brilliant Catalyst, which is Ontario Tech, has been working with us to collect input from our businesses regarding the stage 1 parking study report. They are writing their report. So they've done a feedback collection of data. Peter Stewart's been kind to help shepherd this through his group. They've collected feedback from businesses around why businesses are not supportive of the parking, why businesses see a parking issue out there, and it appears stage 1 was not receptive to businesses to solve that problem. So we collected data to frame those gaps and identify them and identify what could be done to close those gaps. I also try to get at the nugget, what is the actual parking issue? Because the stage 1 report that the city provided showed that utilization was good and the volume is there, but the problem is other than volume. There's a bunch of other issues. So again, the team has been trying to address that and articulate that problem statement as clearly as they could to feed that back into the city. And then lastly, they did some research work on what other parking studies in cities in Ontario and globally have found in terms of the congestion and the parking and looking forward. and are putting that together as a proposal of suggested improvements that could be sort of forward thinking, future thinking. And so they did a very good job. I mean, I've been shepherding along with Peter, and next week is the draft report, and 2 days after that's the final report that we want to get into the city. Thanks to Warren at the city, Kyle, that he was kind enough to not shut down. We missed the stage 1 feedback session, so he left it open for us to finish this piece, to input to that. So I think the members will be happy that at least we looked at it and provided the details, and the students did a great job. The other item on new business is Peter gave us an update. Peter Stute gave us an update on grant writing. There's a course that he's offering that he is going to put together for our students with the city under the Teaching Cities umbrella. And that's to help Angela and team to sort of set up successful grant writing proposals for 2021. So that's kind of trying to get us ready for the $90,000 objective we need for next year to fund the rest of our campaign. So Peter's been gracious to help us out through that, and he's given me an update on that, sent me an update. Peter's back in January, so we'll hopefully see him then. The last part of new business is a letter we all received. Not all? Sorry, did you not circulate it? I thought it went.
No.
Well, we did get it from Laura. Laura sent
no,
it.
actually, 2 of our members that are on right now, Cindy and Isaac, forwarded it to me.
But Laura's response included that, and she
Yeah,
sent
so
it to all the board.
Yeah, so all the board would have seen it. Yes, you're correct.
Right. So the board would have seen the entire board would have seen what's been circulating, and it's a little disconcerting. It's the misinformation that is being spewed about the BIA, and it appears it's drafted or crafted to look like a BIA communication. It's got a BIA email account, and it's titled, the attachment is titled BIA issues, Oshawa BIA issues or concerns. When you read through it, it's disconcerting to see some of the misinformation displayed. And so it's been directed to property owners, it appears, and businesses who are expected to vote. So I'm thoroughly disappointed and really displeased that someone took this kind of action against us. But from my perspective, disappointment is an understatement. I don't know where to go with this, so I'm bringing it up to the board here to decide what it is we do. One of our members shared it with City Council, Paul Ralph, and a bunch of other people that are out there that basically, hopefully, I don't know what they're going to do with it, but they're at least aware of what's going on. So it's been shared. It appears our members have it. It appears we now have it. It appears someone's identified a possible person or group of people or a business that has initiated it, and City Council and city staff have it. So that's it. That's my kind of speakeasy on this one. What do we want to do with it?
Just so you're aware, Andrea has not come on, so we now have quorum.
Well, welcome, Andrea. We now have quorum. Thank you for joining.
No problem. Sorry I'm late. I was in another meeting.
No worries. Thank you. Better late than never. We now have quorum. So on this letter, what do people want to do? What are people's thoughts? I'm happy to do what everyone wants to do.
So my thought is that the vote is on Tuesday. There's nothing that we're going to do in response to this letter that's going to have any effect by Tuesday. So what's the point of doing anything? I mean, after the fact, if depending on how the vote goes, we could respond to it then, I suppose. But I don't think there's any point in responding to it today or tomorrow. Or
do we want to send something to members that say, hey, by the way, you would have received this. It's not from us. We want to clarify it, and there's lots of misinformation. I don't know. We're prevented from doing that by City Council, but I'm happy to ask City Council to go, look, this was put out there against the BIA, and it contains highly misleading, misinformation,
Yeah.
wrong, erroneous, deliberate, or, I hate to say it that way, but
how is that gonna affect anything?
no.
You think it's gonna affect the vote? Anything to do with voting?
Well, I don't know. It's not about affecting the voting. It's just someone's printed something about us and mass mailed it to our members about us.
So we've let the city know about it, right?
We did.
The
We
city
have.
has it.
Yep. We didn't let them know. Someone else did. A member did.
Okay, so your suggestion is we send an email to all our members just stating what? That this is not from us and that it contains a lot of misinformation and misleading statements?
Yeah, it could be as simple as that. I'm just giving that as an example. We could put something on our website, putting that out there going, this is being circulated and we do not agree with it. It's coming from someone within the downtown Oshawa community who is, deliberately misinforming people or deliberately maligning the organization. And we want you to know on record that we disagree with what's been said and it's misinformation. I'm just throwing this out there. I don't know what people want. What do you guys want to do?
Well, I think, Glenn, I understand your perspective, but our BIA is guilty of not advocating for ourselves, for being reactive instead of proactive. My initial instinct was to touch base with somebody from the city. Their communications people, I don't know who, but just to say, we have concerns about this. We would like to just let the members know it didn't come from us. And Ivano, I think some of your wording was really eloquent in stating that I think we have to, take the high road and say, just inform the members this letter wasn't from us. We have listened to a lot of members' concerns and we encourage people to go vote. But I don't even know the wording or how to phrase it, but just that it's based on facts and that letter may not have portrayed the BIA in an accurate kind of light and just kind of really wording it in a positive way. But I do feel it does need to be addressed because our BIA we're just getting hammered because we are silent a lot of the times and we don't even all the contacts that Taylor and Angela were mentioning today, nobody outside of the board knows that. So I think in order for us to stay alive, if we're going to do it, we have to take a more proactive, stronger stance. But I also see the need in touching base with the city because we were told not to do anything. So just to navigate that very carefully, but I do think we do need to advocate for ourselves because it's not fair that, we can't lobby on our behalf in a positive way, yet things like this can happen in a very negative light and it flies under the radar and nobody says anything. So I do think it does need to be corrected in some way, shape, or form.
Thanks, Cindy. Anybody else?
I kind of agree with that, and I think if it takes an informative tone, again, I know you used the words taking the high road, but yeah, similarly along those lines, just going at it from an informative standpoint and saying, look, this is out there. We have concerns with some of the information that's contained inside it. We think some of it's factually incorrect, and we just thought you should be aware, type of thing.
Thank you for that, Isaac. Anybody else?
Do you have any specific examples of what is factually incorrect versus what is an interpretation of something that we don't agree with?
The 40,000. So in the letter, it states that over and above the levy, that the membership is responsible for paying back the city the $40,000, where clearly in the financials, it shows that it was just a restatement.
Yeah, that's a clearly incorrect statement.
The other clearly incorrect statement was saying that the BIA members have 5% tax, which when I believe it was in the city stuff last time for the last special meeting, I believe the tax rate was something like 0.000417, which is clearly less than 0.5%.
Well, basically what it says is, where is it here? An additional tax of 5%. 5% of what?
Yeah.
5% of what?
Well, we froze the budget. I mean, the 2021 budget is frozen. The 2021 was directed by council to freeze it. So, yeah, well, you're right. It's 5% of what, but it doesn't
It doesn't
reference
represent
anything. Yeah.
anything.
What's your suggestion, Michael? Just pick off a couple of them, and highlight them, or
Well, I
are you
would
thinking of going through the thing with a fine tooth comb to point out every one?
I would just be very careful in what we say in our messaging of that, because some of it is opinion, and you're entitled to your opinion. You want to spread that around, that's up to you. Not entitled to spread lies. So yeah, I would just want to, if we're going to say it contains incorrect information, I guess it's a broad enough or wide enough statement to say to make that statement. But I would rather say, particularly these statements are incorrect, and that we disagree with the contents of the others. Or I don't know. I just don't know what, other than pointing out exactly what's in there that's incorrect, I don't see what challenging the opinion piece of it is going to do for us with our membership. I mean, the people that read the stuff that we send out to them are going to probably already understand our organization anyways. But
Yeah, exactly. Anyone that doesn't care isn't going to read this or anything we put out.
I think we at least ought to say it's not from us, right?
No,
Like,
no, I
it's
agree.
made to look like it's from us.
Okay, so let's just, let's post it and say, some of you may have received this letter, or I guess. It contains statements that are
Misleading?
and some statements that are,
And while they represent a member's opinion, people are entitled to their, like, I think Michael's right. There's probably things in here that people opined on, but they didn't say it's their opinion. They present it as if it's facts.
right.
So we want to highlight the fact that says we interpret this as a member's opinion and may not necessarily represent the facts as we understand them.
yeah, I think
I would say it a little more pointed. I would say there are some statements that are misleading and some that are outright wrong or false.
Okay.
That's what I would say. Because
also, I mean, I can't imagine anyone reading this and thinking, why would the BIA wrote this? This is what they think about themselves. Like, nobody's going to think that this communication came from us.
well, I don't think that either.
Well, but we know, yeah, we're to Cindy's point, we're tightly coupled to this organization. We think it's again highly obvious to us, but again, it's we see the inflammatory effect on people out there, and I think that's the intended effect is to inflame anger or inflame outrage over.
Oh no, certainly the main thing they're getting from that is people are taking your money and they're giving you nothing for it. So
Right.
if you want to pay any more money and you want to spend less money on your taxes, then go and do this thing and that'll happen for you.
And we've seen that. We've seen a couple of people come, to the first meeting hot and bothered, thinking that, everything's gone awry and that money's flowing out the door. And then by the time they attend the fifth meeting, they're pretty silent. They may not have changed their position of trying to reduce the tax, the levy tax, but they certainly walk away with a different impression of the group and the team and all the work we do. But they came in focused in on the money side of the equation for sure. So, okay.
I think we should say some of the comments in this are misleading and some are outright false.
Okay.
Yeah, I would also get something from the city to sign off on whatever the response is going to be first, to avoid further difficulties or problems with them.
Instead of posting this, like, is it to send out the communication of sorts to the members and other stakeholders as opposed to posting it?
Sure, it could be an email to it could be in our newsletter, it could be an email, we could blast it out, sure.
Yeah, I just don't want it like posted on for like the general public and other people who are not aware to then become aware of.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, Kyle, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I would just float by Mary Medeiros of the clerk's office. I mean, clerk's in the lead on all of this sort of stuff right now around the vote. And, I think what you're talking about is pretty reasonable. Just kind of keep it high level, but just float it by her first.
Oh, great. I was going to say, who should we direct it to? So you think Mary's the one?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's very good. She gets back to you quickly.
Yeah, it's Mary Medeiros or Laura Davis, and both of them.
Okay. Anybody else have any opinions?
I actually have one unrelated, well, sort of related question, and I hate to bring it up, but I know there was some issue around voting in person with COVID. I haven't seen a response from anybody who's arranging or in charge of the vote, and I wasn't sure if anybody had heard anything or if anything's going on with the in-person vote.
Well, you know the mail-in ballots are all fixed, right, Cindy?
I've actually already retained Giuliani to look into that.
Fair enough. So,
Yeah, I've been getting copied in some of the correspondence. I haven't seen anybody correspond back. There's some initial bounce back as to former people who had the file that moved it to somebody else, and I think that was municipal affairs at the provincial level where they finally tracked the person down, but nobody's responded. Neither the feds, the province, the city, the region, or where else did it go?
It went to the Prime Minister,
Yeah, feds, province,
Prime
region,
the
city.
local,
That's
so
it.
our local MP, MPP, but also a few other surrounding
Right.
ones. Like I think it went to Hudak.
I don't know why it went to him. Oh, you know why? Because isn't he in charge of one of the associations?
I'm not sure. I just know that that was one of the individuals
Yeah.
that was supposed to have received it. And I know it went to all the councillors.
So nobody's opined on it. So or made a decision on it. I thought it was a valid point, but I think people are just going to let it lapse. I think. Sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead.
the only reason why I brought it up was because if we do send out some form of communication, it would be nice to, encourage people to go out and vote. But then I'm like, well, do we really want to be encouraging people to go out and vote considering the situation with COVID? So I don't know how to, that was just where my brain went.
Well, you raise a point of saying, should we at least identify that this item has gone through because it went to the city clerk as well? Now, the city council directed the clerk to run this, but to your point, does the clerk have to now weigh the? I don't. Kyle, did this happen when it was in orange or when it was in red, or was it in yellow when they made this decision?
I think we were in yellow at that point.
Yeah, it was going back a couple of weeks now or whatever. So, but the city hall protocols are pretty okay in terms of people come in through kind of the southern door there or the west door, and they're met by a screener. So it should be fairly safe and straightforward. If people do come in to put a piece of paper into a box. So I don't think it'll be a huge issue from a city perspective. It's probably more of a comfort issue for the members.
Well, and then the aspect of city council is not open to the public, although it's open by virtual meeting. So they don't encourage people to go out to city council, and the doors are not open, right? But yet they're opening for this.
Now, yeah, we're doing everything pretty well we're pretty well by appointment, but it's going to be the same protocol. You come through kind of the main public door. You say while you're here, they screen you, and they'll probably direct you to where you go. So I don't think it'll be that bad. But maybe it's just enough to let people know that the city's got sort of the appropriate protocols in place.
So Kyle, the voting, is it just putting a paper in a box, or how does it work? Do you know?
That's my understanding.
Are you supposed to bring your own piece of paper that outlines your opinion and then put it in, or is there a ballot that you receive when you get there?
Couldn't tell you.
Because I received, as a business owner, the form from the city of Oshawa, and I'm not sure what to do with it, to be honest with you. I guess you just show up and then they give you some sort of a survey or something, it sounds like.
Yeah, it's like bring your ID and they give you a ballot, I guess.
Yeah.
I was told by the clerk to bring proof of tenancy. Could be in the form of a of a piece of mail. So I would encourage that.
Okay, that's good to know. Just any piece of mail will do to say that you're a tenant there. Sure. Good. Yeah, sure. I guess, Kyle, is this the first of and one something like this? Are we creating history?
As far as I know, I haven't seen any place else.
Good. I always like to make my mark out there somewhere. Let's create history. Let's make history.
What a positive spin.
Yeah, we'll take that. Okay, so should we, it sounds like we should draft something.
For this, you mean?
Yeah, so let's come right back to that initial item. It sounds like most people are saying some sort of response after talking to the city clerk, staying high level, identifying it doesn't come from us, possibly identifying specific aspects we might take issue with, or a general notion that there's misleading and misinformation, something along those lines. Let me draft something. I think it's important we get it out tomorrow. So
Yeah.
I'll start this.
Yeah.
Can I run it by a few players and get the feedback from you folks?
Yeah.
And then we'll send it off. So the question then begs: is it a letter? Is it an email to members? Is it a posting? Is it in the newsletter? I think the newsletter already went out though, right?
Taylor, did the newsletter go out already?
Yes, it went out at 4:30.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right.
sends through MailChimp.
Yeah. Do we want to send it to city council to let them know, like keep them involved in it? You don't have to answer this, but I'm going to put these all on there, and then you guys tell me what to do, where to send it, who to send it to. Do you want to engage media? Do you want to put it on the website? I don't know. Will it hit the newsprint edition before the vote? I don't know. Yeah. Okay. I'm just asking you.
It's not till next Thursday.
Yeah.
Now the next one.
Yeah. Fair enough. I'm just putting it out there
No,
to
no, I
say.
know.
To say.
Online it's before.
Yeah.
I just had a visual of Ivana running into the printing room of the newspaper. Stop the press!
Stop the presses!
Stop the press!
Hey, did you watch the movie The Post? That's a good one, right? For that.
I think we should probably do it by an email so it hits as many people directly
Sure.
as possible. And I think we would have the communication drafted and then send it to the clerk for sign off as written. And
Sure.
then as well as the method of communication, make sure we're
And we don't
okay with that. And then we go from there.
Okay. Let me take that on. You'll see something tomorrow. Let me see if I can craft something tonight and get it out, or early tomorrow.
But I don't agree with posting it because that's just gonna be more people that are gonna read it.
Sure.
So why post it?
Sure.
Just, you received a communication that's not from us. It contains misleading information and some false statements.
Perfect. Thank you for that feedback. Before we go into camera, we need to accept everything that we just went through.
Yes.
Andrea, thanks for making quorum. Can I quickly go through the agenda items, get a first and a seconder, and get everybody's vote? Can everyone stick around for that?
Indeed.
Okay.
So
I need a mover and a seconder for acceptance of the agenda.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Isaac. Any changes to the agenda? Hearing none. Can I get the approval? All in favor? Just in the room here, Glenn, Ivano, can you?
any objections would be easier.
Yeah, I agree. Just do it by objection.
Any objections? Hearing none, carried. Declaration of conflicts, we already did that. Delegations, we had Peter Tracus, we heard that. Approval of the minutes. Do I have a mover and a seconder for the minutes from the last meeting, October 29th? Glenn moves.
I'll second.
Isaac seconds. Any additions, deletions, edits? Hearing none. Any objections to approving the minutes? Hearing none, carried. Can I get a mover and a seconder for the report of the chair, the board administrative issues, and the committee reports up to finance and audit. We have to do separate ones for the audit. So everything from 7, 8, 9, A, B, C, D, and E. Can I get a mover and a seconder for those items, please?
Quick question, Ivano. Do we need to separate the marketing one since there was a item to be voted on in there?
Oh, is there? Sorry, I'm sorry. The marketing?
Well, we can do a separate motion for just the marketing one after.
Okay, we'll do a separate one after Angela says. So that's fine. Thanks for pointing that out, Isaac.
No problem.
Do I have a mover and a seconder? Glenn moves it, second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Michael. Any additions, deletions, edits? Hearing none. Any objections to approving those items? Hearing none, carried. Let's come back to marketing communications. Isaac, do you want to make the motion and move it, that item that you wanted?
Sure. So I'd like to make the motion that the Board of Management accept the marketing plan for 2021 as presented in the board package and as presented in the board package.
So we have a mover. Do we have a seconder?
I will second.
Thank you, Michael. Any additions, deletions, edits? Hearing none. Any objections? Hearing none, it's carried. Okay, the 2019 audited financial statements as presented. Do I need a mover? I can't move it, right? As the chair, I'm not allowed to move it, but Glenn is moving it. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second.
Thanks, Isaac. Any questions, edits, deletions, additions? Hearing none. Any objections? Hearing none, so approved. So we can post those. Thank you. October financials, is it just for information or is it approval? It's approval, right?
Well, it's approved at the.
It's
Yes,
finance and audit,
yeah.
but we have to
Yeah, we
approve it to
approve it,
post
yeah.
it, right? So I need a mover and a seconder for the October financials. Glenn moves, second.
I'll second.
Thanks, Michael. Any questions, additions, deletions on the October financials? Hearing none. Any objections to approving the October financials? Hearing none, carried.
Can I make a motion for nomination of Isaac as treasurer of the Board of Management?
Yes, you can. Thank you, Michael. Michael has moved it. Do we need a seconder?
Do we not want to actually include that he would take over starting January 1st?
Thank you, Angela. Yes, yes.
Motion from.
Finance and audit.
Yeah.
And so again, Michael, go ahead with that motion with the amendment.
To accept the recommendation of the Finance and Audit Committee for the Board of Management to appoint Isaac as the treasurer of the Downtown BIA, whose term will commence January 1st, 2021.
Thank you for moving. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second that. It's Cindy.
Thank you, Cindy. Any
Can
change?
we have a recorded vote on this one, please?
Sure. Going around the table, Glenn?
Yes.
Isaac?
Yes.
Cindy?
Yes.
Michael?
Yes.
Andrea?
Yes.
Who am I missing?
You.
Me?
Yeah.
Do I get to vote?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. Anybody else? Am I missing anybody else on the call?
No,
No,
that's it.
Great, carried. Thank you very much. Thank you, Isaac. Welcome on board to taking on that responsibility.
Thank you. Try to carry the torch as best I can.
No problem. Hey, listen, I set the bar real low. You should be able to exceed, no problem.
Oh, no, you didn't. You did a great job, Ivano. Thank you for your services.
Yeah.
I don't think we need a motion for any of the other stuff. We need to go in camera. That's the final item before we adjourn.
Is this going on camera to discuss an employment matter?
Yes, it is.
Okie dokie.
Was there
I
a
will-
separate link sent for that?
No, there wasn't. We're just going to do it right. We're going to do it on here and
So we pause the.
the recording.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's nobody else on here, right?
The only other person that's on is Kyle, who,
He can stay on.
And I will say to everybody at this point.
Okay. Well, you can sign off if you like, Kyle. That's it. We're going to adjourn after this, so you're good to go.
Okay, thank you.
Great.
And there's Taylor. Is she good to stay?
Yeah, I usually leave the room. So what would you like me to do? I can sign off and say goodnight to everybody or.
If you don't mind, Taylor, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a great night, guys. Thank you so much. And
Taylor.
see y'all soon.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Taylor.
Taylor. Thank you.
Okay, Michael, you need to help me with the motion to go in camera.
it's the standard one, I believe.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Motion that the Board of Management for the Oshawa Downtown Business Improvement Area enter into in-camera pursuant to Section 239, subsection 2 of the Municipal Act. This meeting be closed to the public for reasons of personal matters about an identifiable individual, including a local board employee.
We have a mover. Do we have a seconder?
Quick question. It looks like oh yeah, we're still recording. Sorry about that.
Yes, word until it passes.
Yes, of course. I'll second.
Great. Do we need to do recorded vote, Michael, or no?
No, that's fine.
Any objections? Hearing none, carried. Angela, can you make us go in camera and stop the recording? Okay.
Okay.
Michael, you have a motion?
Motion that the Board of Management rise from the in-camera session.
Do I have a seconder? Glenn? Any objections? Hearing none, accepted. Michael?
Motion that the Board of Management for the ODBIA accept the discussions as held in camera.
Do I have a seconder?
Yes.
Isaac, thank you. Any objections? Hearing none, accepted. We have one more agenda item for new business. Glenn?
So we have the 2 igloos, 2 of them, right? Oh, we have 4 igloos. I was just wondering, I meant to talk about this at it was after that day.
Yeah.
I had been thinking about it and then you brought it up.
Yeah.
About arranging with, or seeing if any restaurants would be interested in using the igloos for the outdoor dining so that they can have more people. And I know that so far we haven't taken one out and put it up yet, right? But I'd be willing to do that. And I guess take pictures. What's so funny?
Isaac, would you like to talk on how easy that would be?
Yeah, I think it's going to take a pretty good amount of time and somebody with some really good vision to put them together. There's no instructions.
We have instructions, and Taylor has color coded. We didn't have them that day, but we have found some instructions and we've color coded, but it's quite intricate.
Okay, well, I'm
Yeah.
a mechanic. I should be.
It's not impossible. Definitely, you would just need to have the right set of tools and be organized. But
Okay.
yeah, it's certainly there's a lot of manual putting nuts and bolts together as opposed to stuff clicking together, right? So
So
do we find a business that might be willing to take a trial run on it, or?
well, I'd be willing to have a look at it. See if
I'm
we.
just wondering, size-wise, I know, Ivana, the picture you sent, they were small. Is ours not like ginormous? And is it, I wouldn't think it would be feasible because you can't, I'm just confused unless I'm way out in left field.
I think they are pretty big, but Angela, can you confirm that?
I think they're 8 feet, but I'm not sure if that's.
Like 8 feet diameter?
Radius.
Well, it would be. It's like it's a geodesic and it's a
Yeah.
half globe. So it's like 8 feet radius. So it's pretty big. It'll
Yeah.
hold it'll hold 2 tables or 3
Yeah.
of 2 or 4, right? People. So you might be able to get 4 or 6 people in there.
So the
For
problem
dining.
with that though then is how is it going to be heated?
How is it going to be what?
Heated.
Well, they just use the propane.
And where are you gonna set it up to test it, to put it
Well,
up?
I think so. They're all good questions. I think it's about asking certain vendors who have the space, like an Avanti. So you can put it in his parking lot,
Right.
and deal with it, right?
Right.
Parking's on the street. You can,
Right.
so
And it would be a great news story.
Well, so I'm looking at it as going, there's a possibility if you have an interested party in it.
Right.
So before we start taking all the pieces out and pulling out the mechanical set, you and I, the ratchets and the air guns to put it all together, I think if we have an interested party, what I suggested to Angela is we got to get to a place like the airport hangar, put it inside the airport hangar, get it all installed, and put it on a flatbed to deliver it where we need to go once it's done.
Okay, so my thinking is whether we have immediately somebody interested or not, at some point we've got to put one together and figure out what we're going to do with them.
Yeah, the trouble is they're nicely packed away right now. I don't think once we put them together we take them apart. They got to be stored somewhere. We could take them apart. My fear is unless we put markers on them to go, this is number 1, this is number 2, this is number 576, and the
So
last
is that complicated?
Well, they described it to me. I didn't see it.
Yeah, it's all every single piece goes together with nuts and bolts, right? So it's a lot of manual work.
Yeah, but I have a compressor and air guns in my truck. I mean, that's
it can be done.
I can show you, I believe it's in the office, if I can get through to the reads, the image where Taylor has color coded.
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't have to discuss all this.
No,
in a meeting.
I think you're seeing some favorable support for it. I think I'd rather find somebody who wants to do it. You know what it is? It's an 8-foot radius globe, half globe. And if somebody wants to do it, then we got to work through all these other logistic things over the next.
Okay, I'm willing to take that on.
Yeah.
That's
So-
all I'm saying.
so-
And I'd like to see us at least get one set up. If we don't want and nobody wants them, then at least we can take pictures and we can sell them.
Yeah.
Whatever, we got to do something with them.
Yeah.
Right.
So what we end up doing with them when we're done, you're right. We got to think about that. But let's, we
Either
have-
way, let's just get one.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
I agree, and we tried to do that.
Yeah, I know you did.
Yeah.
And
So Cindy, you had made some points. Are you still comfortable with at least starting down this path?
Yeah, no, I apologize. I thought they were big enough to fit multiple vendors in. So that's why I thought they were like ginormous, and then you can't cram in a bunch of tables. So knowing the size, that makes much more sense. So I apologize.
No, I'm thinking you could probably, in a normal time, you could probably fit 4 vendors inside.
like, would it be like like this room if it was more square?
Maybe not as big as this room. Maybe about three quarters, possibly. Like,
Yeah, no, I think it's probably bigger.
yeah. Is it?
Okay,
I think-
anyways.
I don't know. That was the whole point of trying to get one built.
Well, we were trying to shoot for what we had as the igloos, the inflatable igloos,
Yes.
and that had 2 or 3 or 4 vendors in it last
Exactly,
time. So
yeah.
I think that's what we were shooting for, Cindy.
Anyway, so my suggestion is that I take some time and have a look at them, get some specs on the sizes and all that stuff, make a decision as to where we could set one up. And then once we've done all that, then figure out, then make a decision from there.
Yeah, I don't.
So the other thing too is that it's very heavy, right? Like the cover itself is extremely heavy. I don't think we even pulled that out.
No
We
problem.
pulled all the other pieces because the crates themselves are over a ton.
Okay.
Well,
Just as a heads up.
we got it in. I mean, there are some organizations, the city, ourselves, whatever,
Yeah.
with a flatbed. I
Right.
mean, once you put them together, I don't think it's a problem getting it on a flatbed. We just got to find the right truck and then moving it.
Right.
I just don't think these things you move regularly once a week. or
No,
something.
no, of course not.
So
No.
it'd be kind of cool to see what they look like
It
if
would
somebody
be,
sees
yeah.
it,
I think
it's
we
in
should-
place.
I
But
think we got it, and I'm willing to
Yeah.
take that on.
And the other thing is we do have one of those propane heaters. We just don't have the tank.
But that would be the restaurant's responsibility.
Yes.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to get involved in heating and propane and blah, blah, blah. If they want it, they can do
So,
it. But that's what they do. They use those patio heaters.
it'd be just a different
Yeah.
experience.
So,
It'd be
yeah.
kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I can give Dom a call from Avantis and ask. Right?
Okay,
If you
I'd
want.
hold on that for
Yeah.
the time being. Let's just get one,
Set
get it
up.
set up, take pictures, get measurement, because that's what he's gonna say. Well, how big is it? Well,
Well,
we don't
exactly.
know.
Right? The other
That's what, we gotta
location-
get one set up.
The other location that I had talked to, but of course without pictures or anything, was Parkwood. That might be a location of,
They could store it there.
well, no,
Talking to
if
Laura.
yeah, talking to Laura, if they were having teas or
Well,
something.
yeah, they got-
out at night.
There's
Yeah.
there's 12 acres out there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
So.
Like it could be something that they could then turn to use for events. Right?
And
Working with the community
Could we
partner.
work something out where one of the restaurants uses the area there beside,
Barry Hill caters for them. We engaged Barry Hill to cater. It's a great setup
where?
at Parkwood.
Parkwood.
No, yeah, no, but I'm talking about, where it used to be Ontario Street or whatever it is.
Oh, that Victoria, I think. Victoria?
Whatever.
No, are you talking where the patio was? That was Ontario Street. The street that's just walking right now is Victoria.
Okay, so could one of the restaurants that are right there set up something?
Oh, possibly. Never thought of that.
I don't know, like,
Yeah,
I
you
don't
know
know the logistics of.
Yeah, possibly.
We can
Can they
talk.
be locked at night?
What's that?
Can they be locked? Is there like a door on them?
I don't think there's a closing door, but there's an opening, like an igloo type opening. But
If we leave it there overnight, are we going to have unwelcome guests seeking shelter?
That's a high possibility.
Well, yeah, that's another issue. Anyways, I
We
think
need
we
to get
should
one
get
built.
one set up.
Yeah.
And
Great.
go from there. Okay.
do we? So I don't know if we heard from everyone. Andrea, did you have any comments about it?
No, my only concern would just be the space and, the security.
Okay, Isaac,
Nothing further, no.
do we need a motion?
To adjourn? Do we?
No, to do this thing?
No.
No.
No, we have it. We're just going to use it.
Yeah, we have it.
Great. So it just goes through your committee then, I guess?
Yeah.
Okay, great. That's basically it. Going around the table, any issues that anyone wants to bring up? Glenn? Cindy?
Sorry, no.
Isaac?
Nothing for me.
Andrea?
No, I'm good.
Michael?
Oh, good.
I'm happy to take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thanks, Glenn. Seconder?
Second.
Thanks, Michael. Any objections? Hearing none. Thank you very much, folks, for your patience and understanding. I really appreciate it, especially having a late afternoon meeting. Thanks again, folks.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, bye.
Bye, everyone.